Hi, my name is Kelly. I'm the owner and operator of Travel Morocco Today. This is my YouTube channel. Yay! So essentially, I live in Morocco. My partner is Moroccan, and I basically wanted to share advice with you about the Agafay Desert. Full disclosure, I don't have any video because I wasn't doing a YouTube channel at that time, so that was like, hashtag fail. But essentially I wanted to create a video about what not to do in the Agafay Desert because I essentially all I saw were these beautiful photos and I had these really high expectations and I thought it was going to be so amazing and rocks on the ground. I could have done better to make my trip a lot better, and I want to share that with you so that you kind of have an idea of what you're getting into and what to expect so you can have an amazing time. So the first thing you need to know about the Agafay Desert is that it is a rock desert, okay? So if you are thinking, oh, I'll just go to Marrakech and then I'll hit the Sahara and I'll see all these vast sand dunes, that's not what the Agafay Desert is. It's essentially a rock desert. So you need to keep that in mind in boarding. So keep that in mind before you visit. Temper your expectations and not be super disappointed. Mistake number 2. All right, so people think Morocco is quote unquote cheap. People think it's gonna be really easy to get to and from the Agafay Desert. So when I was there the last time, I stayed at Selina, and Selina is at the start of the Agafay. So you're not going deep into the desert. When I was there the last time, I think the absolute cheapest price you can get for a taxi from the airport, because I came from the airport to the Agafay, 400 dirhams, which is extremely expensive for Morocco. And my boyfriend is Moroccan, so I got a really special discount. I think it was 800 dirhams total. Essentially, it's not cheap to get out there. It's quite expensive. There's no bus because where I was the closest camp, and from the bus stop, it's still a 20-30 minute walk. So just keep that in mind when you're going there. I suggest renting a car and driving yourself out there because the road is really bumpy. It's not paved, and I personally would not feel comfortable driving a rental car because if something happened, it just would not be a good look or a good scene. So keep that in mind before you book. Number 3, there is actually a windy season in the Agafay Desert. So I went during windy season because I suck, and basically it was I want to say it was 80 km/h winds. So essentially glamping in a tent, and it feels like the tent is about to blow away. And a lot of the activities get canceled. So the windy season is in spring. So I would not visit in spring. Visit Morocco, I would just skip the Agafay at that time of year because activities hear anything. So just double check that and make sure of that before you visit. All right, so I think people think that you're gonna go out there and you're gonna go swimming. Now, the reality, I was there, I visited, I wanna say I think early March. So I was delusional and I was oh, it'll be amazing and hang out by the pool and go swimming, it'll be so nice. The water was frigid. The pool was not heated, so it was exceptionally cold. Stay in for more than 5 minutes. And the other thing is that the weather outside was just cold. So if you really wanna go swimming, you're gonna have to wait until probably I would say around May. Obviously that to some extent depends on where you are, the type of person you are. If for some reason you absolutely love cold water, then go for it. What I would do looking back is I would check to make sure that the resort that I was booking with absolutely some sort of heated pool, so that way you can relax and trip, and running out of things to do, you can hang out by the pool, because I kind of felt my trip would have been better had the water been nicer and I could have relaxed by my pool. Thing number 5, the Agafay Desert is very isolated. Those people that likes to do 20 different things in a day and doesn't like to sit around, it's probably not for you. Restaurants, okay? There is no quote unquote attractions basically at your desert camp. So if you can't, so you might want to bring snacks because the food at a lot of these desert camps tends to be expensive. So if I were you, I would definitely maybe even some water and some drinks. If you don't care about prices and you're whatever, then don't bring anything. But it's just you're kind of a captive audience. So you're not gonna go, you're basically a captive audience and you're not gonna go and just hit something. Anyway, so essentially, basically anything you have to do, any supplies that you need to get from the camp, okay? So just keep that in mind. Like if you want to have dinner, camp, one restaurant, on a book, camp. So just remember that when you go out there. Thing number 6. So when you book tours, like let's say you're going from Marrakech to the Agafay Desert, okay? And you book a tour. Generally the tour, obviously varying, is included. The tour is probably going to cost you like $30 US dollars, maybe $40 US dollars. And that's around 400 dirhams. So, and with that, you usually get like a meal, quad biking, camel riding, like a show, transport to and from the Agafay, okay? When I was last there and I wanted to do, let's say, I don't remember the exact prices, but like, let's say it was an hour camel ride. That was like 300 dirhams. So what I would say is that like, when I did the comparisons in price, it's much, much cheaper if you book a day trip to the Agafay as opposed to spending the night there. So overall, in summation, don't do what I did because I was like walking around totally bored with like nothing to do because I didn't want to pay a lot of money for tours. The water was too cold and it was basically so windy that I couldn't talk and I felt like my tent was going to blow away. So don't be like me, all right? Instead, you know, really prepare yourself and make sure you know exactly what you're getting into. It's a really beautiful place and I highly recommend going. I just think that if you want to save like a ton of money or like want experience, I would absolutely book a day trip and then just use the day trip to go into the Agafay Desert and then go back to Marrakech, because I think that's going to be much, much cheaper for you than actually spending the night in Marrakech. I would say is that if you're really go-getter type person, don't go to the Agafay Desert because I have a feeling you're going to get bored. Essentially, a lot of the Agafay is that, you know, you just kind of relax and hang out and enjoy the view. And it is a place, but just, you know, it's more about relaxation than anything else. The other thing I'll say, and this is a huge mistake I saw people make, and I'll say this before I close, is a lot of people, because I was at like, it's kind of a hostel, so they have like a dorm tent, but I was in a private tent. So, you know, there's a lot of people there on a budget, and I think a lot of the people assumed that they could just either be every day into Marrakech or like catch the bus. And the problem is that, like I mentioned earlier, pretty expensive. So you're going to be spending a lot of money every day if you want to go into Marrakech. And the bus isn't very close to any of the camps. So you can't even walk to the bus station and then go into Marrakech. So what I'm trying to say is that if you go to the Agafay Desert, don't plan on taking day trips into Marrakech. It's not viable, a ton of money. The other thing is that it's not super short. Like if you take a private transfer, it's going to cost, it's going to take between 30 and 40 minutes. So, you know, that's a lot of time shuffling between both locations. Don't plan on doing that. I saw people make that mistake quite frequently. You know, also, like, it's a beautiful area. There's a lot of really great things. Like, you know, glamping is really fun. It's very relaxing. The resort that I was at, they had cooking lessons, they had mixology. So, like, there's a lot of stuff to do. But I think you just have to mentally prepare yourself. The prices are just a lot higher because essentially I talked to my partner and Moroccans don't go there for tourists. So that's why the prices are definitely higher than what at least I was used to living here. So if you take my advice, use that to plan an amazing trip, you're going to enjoy yourself and you're going to have a much, much, much better time than me. Have a great time in the Agafay Desert and thanks for listening. And don't forget to subscribe. I'm awesome. You're going to love it here and I really appreciate you watching. Thanks.